Have you ever noticed that shopping just feels different these days? Well, it's not just you. We are living right in the middle of a massive retail revolution. So let's pull back the curtain and see what's really going on. For generations, this was the face of retail. Sears. It was way more than just a store, right? It was a fixture in American life, a place you could literally buy anything. It felt permanent, like it would be there forever. And yet today, giants like Sears are either gone or are seriously struggling to hang on. This brings up a massive question, one that really gets to the heart of our whole economy. In a world that's changing this fast, what in the world does it take for a retailer to actually survive? To figure that out, we first have to understand the powerful forces that brought this whole era of retail to an end in the first place. It was kind of the perfect storm. On one side, you had these incredibly aggressive new players, both online and in the real world, just completely changing the game. Then, on the other side, we changed. Our habits, what we spend our money on, it all shifted. And stuck right in the middle, a lot of the older, established stores they couldn't keep up. Or maybe they just wouldn't. But here's the thing, this is not a story about the death of the physical store. Not at all. It's really a story about its rebirth. See, the smartest retailers out there, they're not giving up. They're fighting back by completely reinventing what a store is even for. And wow, this slide just says it all, doesn't it? On the left, that's the old model. A store is just a box to hold products. It's functional, sure, but kind of forgettable. On the right, though, that's the new model. The store is a world, an immersive experience. The big shift is from just buying stuff to actually doing stuff. Because, let's be honest, when you can buy anything you want online, a physical store has to give you a real reason to leave your house, a memory, a feeling, an experience you can't get anywhere else. So how do they actually pull this off? Well, they're using a completely new set of tools. They're crafting an atmosphere, a vibe that you can't just download. They're offering entertainment, turning a shopping trip into a fun day out. They're hosting classes and demos, turning the store into a place to learn something new. And maybe the most important thing of all, they're building actual communities, making the store a hub for people who share passion. And that creates a kind of loyalty a simple price tag never could. This quote right here, it just nails it. The store is now a theater. Every single detail, the lights, the music, the way things are laid out, it's all part of a performance. And it's a performance designed to tell a story and make you, the customer, feel like you're part of it. But the revolution doesn't stop at the store's front door. Oh no, retail is now breaking free from those four walls entirely. The industry has a fancy term for this, non-store retailing. But really, it's a simple and super powerful idea. You don't need a traditional building to sell things anymore. Selling can happen literally anywhere, anytime, and in some really, really creative ways. This is a fantastic example of how those lines between the digital and physical worlds are just dissolving. You've got a huge online company, eBay, creating a temporary physical shop. So why would they do that? To create buzz, get people talking, and give their online customers a super rare chance to connect with the brand in person. And then you've got the good old vending machine, just pushed to its absolute creative limit. This one in Japan doesn't just sell you a soda. It sells umbrellas. It identifies a very specific immediate need, hey, it's starting to rain, and gives you an instant automated solution. That is convenience at its absolute peak. All right, so we've talked about how retailers are changing the shopping experience. But what about the actual products themselves? Well, that brings us to another huge strategy. The rise of the private label. This is where retailers stop just selling brands and start becoming the brand. Okay, so what's the real difference here? It all boils down to a few key things. National brands, you see them everywhere. They have these huge advertising budgets, but the profit that the store actually makes on them is pretty thin. A store's own brand, its private label, well, that's exclusive. You can only get it there. It's usually a better value for us, the shoppers, and this is the big one. It makes way more money for the retailer. And please, do not make the mistake of thinking private label means low quality. That is the old way of thinking. Brands like Cameron Hughes have built this incredible following by basically acting as wine scouts. They find top vineyards that have some extra high-end wine, they bottle it under their own name, and they sell it for way less than the original. It's a total win-win. Okay, so creating an amazing store or a great new brand, that's one thing. But actually getting the product onto the shelf, that is the other much bigger half of the battle. So for our final act, we're going to pull back the curtain on the most invisible and maybe the most important part of this entire revolution. No, really, just think about it for a second. That phone in your pocket, the coffee you had this morning, how did it get to you? The journey it took is one of the most incredible, coordinated things that humans do, and it happens almost completely out of sight. This massive, invisible system, it has a name. It's called market logistics. You can think of it like the circulatory system of our global economy. It's this unseen force that moves things from where they're made to where they're sold. It's this complex dance of planning and execution, all with one simple goal: getting you what you want when you want it. For most products we buy, that journey begins right here, out on the ocean. A single one of these massive container ships can carry thousands of truckloads worth of stuff. They're literally floating warehouses, silently connecting the economies of entire continents. And once they make landfall, the journey continues on these iron horses. Freight trains are basically the arteries of the supply chain, moving enormous amounts of goods from the coasts to all the hubs inland with just incredible efficiency. So how does this all work without just falling into total chaos? Well, it really comes down to these four key functions, all working in perfect sync. First, your order gets processed. Then, the product is pulled from a gigantic warehouse. At the same time, the inventory system is figuring out what needs to be restocked. And finally, the best mix of transportation is chosen to get that item on its way to you. It really is a global dance, a dizzying, complex choreography of physical things, like ships and trains, all of it guided by a nonstop flow of digital information. And the only goal is to get the right product to the right place at exactly the right time. And that brings us full circle. From reinventing the store as an experience, to selling things in totally unexpected places, to that invisible network that delivers it all, this whole revolution is really about one thing: finding new and better and more engaging ways to connect with customers like you and me. So I'll leave you with this question. The next time you walk into a store or you click Buy Now online, just take a second. Look around. What part of this hidden revolution are you going to see? Will it be the store's unique vibe, the cleverness of a pop-up shop? Or will you just take a moment to think about the absolutely incredible journey that product took to get to you?